Can you lose belly fat without doing tons of sit-ups and sweating it out at the gym? Yes, you can, and I'm going to show you how in this video. Hello fam, and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal, and this channel is all about helping you, if you're a woman over 40 or like me, over 50, get in fantastic shape. And the biggest problem we have over 40, and especially around the time of menopause, so that's perimenopause, menopause and postmenopause, is belly fat. And there's a biological reason this is happening, because of your reduced estrogen levels, or you're reducing estrogen levels. What that's going to do is cause your body to produce more fat, and what it's trying to do is produce more estrogen. And when you produce that fat, it typically sits around your midsection, and it definitely did for me even when I lost weight. So you can see in this picture I'd actually lost weight, but I was still finding that I had fat sat around my midsection, and I don't have that anymore. And I'm gonna be talking about the strategies that you can use. They're easy to implement, and it doesn't involve sweating it out at the gym, doing tons of cardio, which by the way, I would recommend you avoid that, because that's what I did, and I hung on to the belly fat. And it doesn't involve tons of sit-ups, because they don't really make a difference. And actually what makes the key difference for women over 40 is actually taking care of your nutrition. That doesn't mean low calories, it doesn't mean low carbs, and in fact you don't want to be eating not enough to give your body adequate fuel at this time in life, because if you're anything like me, you're really going to suffer from fatigue. And if you take your calories really low, or you go on low carb diets, very likely it's going to make the fatigue worse. So let's get into it. So you want to be eating in a way that supports your hormone health, and watch right until the end, because I'm going to give you a bonus tip that's really going to help. But let's talk about the tips around nutrition, and there are 4 key areas. So the first thing is, and some of you are not going to love me for this, but you've got to reduce or cut out sugar. Very small amounts of sugar or no sugar is absolutely optimum, and I eat very little sugar myself. The only sugar I tend to have is sugar that's already in fruit, which is absolutely okay, and I have a small amount of dark chocolate, and that's 70% dark chocolate, and that's the only sugar I have. What happens when you're over 40 is you're far more likely to be insulin resistant, and if you come from a background like mine, like you've got African, Indian, or maybe South American heritage, you are much more likely to be insulin resistant. Maybe you've got type 2 diabetes, maybe pre-diabetes, and with all those things, what that means is sugar is not going to do you any favors, and you're actually going to find that you put on more body fat by eating sugar. If you want to reduce that belly fat, my belly, it's not absolutely perfect, it's a lot flatter than it was. Part of that is cutting out unnecessary sugar, refined sugar I'm talking about, that white stuff, that brown stuff that you add to food, but it's also present in processed food, and processed food is another thing that you want to be avoiding, because it actually disrupts your hormones. Don't want to be eating processed meats, that kind of thing, that fake meat that you get as well. Anything that's had too much tampering by people, you want to avoid. So a lot of the stuff that you see that they sell in the supermarkets, and often it's actually wrapped up as healthy food, it's actually man-made, and so not good for you, it's not good for your hormones, and you will see a tremendous difference if you're eating that type of food if you switch to natural foods. So it's fruit, vegetables, fresh fish or frozen fish, it's lean meats, that type of thing. It's going to really help with balancing your hormones and therefore reducing belly fat. And it's not that difficult to do. We're not talking about going on a diet, we're just talking about eating healthily. It's going to help your whole body, not only your hormones, but your whole body is actually going to thank you for it. It's going to be great great for your long-term health. Now, the third thing I'm going to talk about, and that is gut health, because gut health, just like processed foods really and sugar, it's going to cause inflammation in your body. And what we're trying to do at this stage in life is actually reduce the inflammation in your body. And if you've got poor gut health, that is going to cause inflammation, and so you want to get on top of your gut health. My gut health was pretty off until recently, and some of the things that I do and I recommend you do: take a probiotic. That's pretty easy to do. And if you're having problems with your gut health, take a digestive enzyme. Now, how do you know that you've got problems with gut health? Well, it's the inflammation. So you might find you've got water retention, you're having stomach cramps, finding it difficult to digest your food. All those things indicate gut health issues. And so what you want to be doing is also eating fermented food. Fermented food is absolutely fantastic. So it could be, as long as it's sugar-free, drinks like kombucha, sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir or yogurt, those sort of things. If you're not intolerant to dairy, then try those. Talking of intolerance, you want to check that you're not intolerant to any types of foods, and what can be the big culprit are gluten. Gluten is very, very problematic for some people and can cause intolerances. And the other one is lactose and dairy. So if you feel you're having a gut reaction, those are the first things to look at. Now I'm going to talk about protein, and I talk about this a lot, and I've actually made a video all about protein, but it's really important if you're going to reduce your belly fat. And I'm not talking about the connection with strength training, I'm just talking about protein in general. It's really going to help your body, it's going to help your metabolism if you eat a diet that's high in protein. And how you do that is you're going to need to be eating protein at every single meal and snack. So you might have noticed by the surroundings, but I am on vacation at the moment. I'm in Turkey and I can't weigh and measure my food, but if I could, I'd be eating 1 gram of protein for every pound in my body weight. So I weigh around about 120 pounds, so I need to be getting in at least 120 grams of protein per day. If you weigh over 170 pounds, shoot for your goal body weight. So if your goal body weight is 150 pounds, eat 150 grams of protein per day. So I've just had breakfast, I brought my protein powder out with me and added it to some oatmeal in the morning, and that was my breakfast. And I will be making a whole video on how I eat when I'm traveling, because I do travel an awful lot, and so I know a lot of you ask me, well, what do I do when I'm traveling? So I'm making a whole video on that. If you're going to reduce your belly fat, get in a diet, a nutrition plan, get lots of protein into your way of eating, into your style of eating. And for me, it's just a lifestyle now, and I don't need to even think about it. It's automatic that I will get protein at every meal and snack. And once you do it, once it's a lifestyle, once it's a habit, it's actually really easy to do. I promised you at the start a bonus tip, so I'm going to talk about that now. It's connected to inflammation in your body, and that is getting enough sleep. It's going to really make a massive difference to belly fat, believe it or not. It's so important, and I've got really intentional about sleep, and I'm going to give you a couple of tips here, but I actually have made a whole video just about sleep, and I'm going to link it up here, because the thing to say is, if you're going through menopause, perimenopause, it's going to be really difficult to get sleep, so you do need to be intentional about that. But it's making sure that you're sleeping in a really cool environment. So having the window open, even in the winter, in the UK in the winter, it's pretty cold, but I still sleep with the window open. Maybe using air conditioning or a fan. So you've got your bedroom at the appropriate temperature, because it needs to be cooler than a room that you would use normally during the day, because your body heats up at night. Then you need to be losing technology right before before bed. So at least half an hour before bed. Avoid any close screen time because that's really overstimulating. It can disrupt your sleep actually all through the night because there's a specific blue light that it gives off and it's really stimulating that close screen time. The other thing is, if your work allows it, do go to bed and get up at the same time every day. So that's with the circadian rhythm. It's going to be much better for you. And going to bed at 10 o'clock will really help because those 2 hours before it hits midnight, they're actually when you get the best quality sleep. And getting the best quality sleep is the thing that's going to help your body lose belly fat. So I hope you found that video helpful, and do comment below if you're having problems like I did with belly fat. I know it's the biggest thing, and whether you're going to try any of those things, let me know. And if you have tried any of those things, and just let me know how you get on. But I just want to say that the message is, it's not all about sweating it out at the gym. It really isn't. Some of the other strategies that I talked about are just as important as exercise, and that's not to say that you don't need to do exercise, and I've made tons of videos about that as well, but these are the things that if you put in place, they're really going to help.